Coming up on Show 560, two big charging networks join forces. LG Chem could be supplying Tesla, and why the phrase turbo EV is idiotic. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're listening around the world. Welcome to EV News Daily, Saturday, 24th of August edition. And this is what you missed in the last 24 hours. I go through every EV story to save you time. Thank you, as always, to our patrons of this show. You do fund this, you make this show happen. Two new patrons of the programme. That's producer, BODO, B-O-D-O, BODO, and executive producers, or maybe just executive producer, I don't know, plural, Northern Explorers. As always, thank you to myev.com for helping make this show as well. It is the world's first marketplace specifically for electric vehicles. Totally free as well. Not too much these days is totally free. What's the catch? Well, there isn't one. Go check it out. If you're in the USA, of course, you're lucky enough to have myev.com. A follow-up from Barry Wolf. I was talking yesterday about navigation systems in EVs, well, the Audi e-tron actually, showing petrol stations and the current petrol prices. And is that them dropping the ball? Is it them being lazy? Is it that nobody thought about it? I don't know the answer, but it's weird that the Audi e-tron does that, even if it's part of the VW group system. Just don't do it in an electric car. Barry says, when I use Apple CarPlay, my e-Golf does not include built-in navigation, so I have to use CarPlay. Pressing destinations brings up a series of buttons for points of interest, one of which provides a list of nearby, you guessed it, gas stations. It seems the VW Group has made this feature available for Audis and VWs. Maybe the Taycan's going to get it too. I've complained about this to VW, but VW blames Apple, since the Bolt EV also uses CarPlay but shows an EV charging station button instead of the gas pump button. It's clear VW dropped the ball on correctly programming the iPhone interface. VW saying, no, it's Apple's fault. Do you use CarPlay in an EV? What does it say? Does it show you petrol stations along the way? Do you drive a Bolt? Is that correct? I'd love to know. You can always get in contact like Barry did and email me anytime. Well, finding a fast charger in the US just got a lot easier for a lot of EV drivers. Two of America's largest fast charging networks announced an agreement on Thursday to allow each other's users to charge at their charging sites without signing up for the new memberships or payment plans, according to Eric at Green Car Reports. Electrify America and EVgo agreed to a roaming partnership with will allow members of either service to charge at either an EVgo or Electrify America charging station. A reminder, by the way, Electrify America is the network being built in the US from Volkswagen's "you did a very bad thing" money. Each of the networks already has individual agreements with the nation's other largest networks, those namely ChargePoint and Greenlots. That means that drivers of EVs, other than Teslas, have a widespread network in many ways, on par with superchargers. They can use them to top up their batteries wherever they are. Unlike Tesla's supercharger network, however, EVgo chargers are concentrated in and around cities. EVgo points are places that you may be parking up in a city. Maybe superchargers are more often found along highways between cities to do longer trips. What do you think? Am I correct in saying that? Let me know anytime in the comments section, Facebook, YouTube, and email hello@evnewsdaily.com. This is a Bloomberg report coming via Inside EVs. According to Bloomberg, Tesla has now selected LG Chem as the non-exclusive supplier of lithium-ion battery cells for the Model 3. That's the Model 3 that will be produced in China at Giga 3. Inside EV says the origin of this revelation are unofficial sources, though, so be careful. LG Chem is expected to supply Tesla with the 2170 cylindrical cells. Shouldn't they be called 21700 cells? I see it done both ways, actually. They're produced in Nanjing. Now, Nanjing is 200 miles or 320 kilometers west of Shanghai. Separately, Tesla is reportedly in talks with CATL, Contemporary Amperex Technology Limited. They might also become a supplier. The report doesn't say anything about negotiations with their old favourite, Panasonic. That was the main battery. They are the main battery supplier for Tesla so far. LG Chem batteries also used for the Tesla Model Y, I believe. I think that may be true. Once production of those is going to be launched in the future and you're buying a Model Y, it could be LG Chem cylindrical cells you'll find. Look, they may be changing the supplier of the cell, but the actual cells aren't changing. Same chemistry, same architecture, same size and shape, all those things. It's the same cell. It's just different people making them. So Tesla aren't wildly changing their processes. They just got a variety of suppliers, whereas before they had one. Meanwhile, from Teslarati, in an interview, Tesla's global Vice President Grace Tao stated that Gigafactory 3 is already mostly complete. Tao noted that the installation of production equipment within the factory is progressing well. Machines are being debugged. They're preparing for trial Model 3 production runs. Local reports have noted that the Gigafactory 3's substation is about to start powering the complex next month, and barring unexpected delays could result in Gigafactory 3 coming to life as early as the very end of September. When Elon Musk said he wanted it done by the end of December, producing some trial Model 3s, everyone thought he was losing the plot off his rocker, had taken something that morning. Everyone said it couldn't be done. Now, even Elon time is looking pessimistic. What's happened to the universe? Normally Elon's the one giving these crazy dates that no one can achieve. He said December. They've done it ahead of schedule. Hopefully, well, they haven't done it, but we'll see. End of September, they could start testing that machinery. A new report featured in Motor One. First of two Porsche stories today, actually. It claims that Porsche plans to offer video streaming in the Taycan. Netflix is identified as the streaming service of choice, but its availability is apparently in question. The word allegedly came from Porsche's director of driver experience, Oliver Fritz, during a recent media event for the Taycan, though it was qualified with a statement that Porsche is only working on it, and it does have to make it safe, of course. Can you imagine the lawsuits if somebody had an accident and Netflix was streaming at the time inside the car? I wonder if they can do... When I used to get the train a lot, actually, every day, and people would get on the train in the morning at 6, get their laptops out, and sometimes I would see little stickers on the keyboard from the IT department, and I would notice a law firm, a legal or a financial firm or something. They always had these kind of screen protectors, these things on their laptop screens that meant that nobody off to the side or even behind really could read what was on their screen. I looked over someone's shoulder like, what's that thing on the screen? Like, oh, I can't see a thing. So maybe it'll be some kind of similar technology where only the passenger, because on the Taycan, remember, the passenger gets a screen directly in front of them. Maybe they'll do something like that. I don't know. It seems weird. Watch this space. Also on the Porsche Taycan, the top level of which will be called the Taycan Turbo. Jalopnik today have been talking about the Taycan. You may have also heard that the first version to make it to market will be the higher spec, faster model, Porsche's Taycan Turbo. It's a terrible name for a car because if there's one thing you can absolutely say about the Taycan, there's nothing remotely even close to a turbo going inside it. You can't have a turbo electric car because nothing about a turbo is compatible with how an electric motor works. Yes, a turbo is simply short for the phrase turbocharger. It's about moving gases at faster speeds. The whole thing is mad, says Jalopnik today. It would be like McDonald's offering the McHDMI burger because somehow that cheeseburger has an HDMI port on it, even though there's nothing inside a cheeseburger that in any way has an HDMI connection. Porsche calling it the Turbo EV is idiotic, says Jalopnik. It makes about as much sense as a Toyota Corolla mild hybrid being sign written in big letters down the side of it, which says, lean, green, all-electric machine. And I use that example because over the weekend, several people have indeed forwarded me this picture from one particular car dealer. I'll name no names, but I did retweet the tweet. One particular car dealer has a Toyota Corolla mild hybrid, sign written, which says, lean, green, all-electric machine. And even if that was a mistake, surely the presence of a rather large engine and exhaust and tank full of petrol would maybe have given the sign writer pause for Are you sure you want me to do this? You literally couldn't make it up. Well, look, we've mentioned Toyota. They are providing the official fleet for the Olympic and Paralympic Games in Tokyo in 2020. 90% of the vehicles are going to be pure electric. No mild hybrids. You surprise me, Toyota. 850 electric vehicles deployed next year for the Games. Most of them new, and many of them very, very weird concepts. They look cray-cray. They look crazy. They look sci-fi. Says Electric. Toyota says that the public roads surrounding Toyota City, the mega web in the area, are expected to be used for test rides and drives of the vehicle with advanced driving technology. One of them is going to be called the Concept I. It's a really weird looking car. The Concept I, one of the vehicles that people are going to try at the Olympic Games. You know, this is kind of interesting with Toyota making all electric vehicles. Oh, I'm delighted, by the way. I mean, even though they run adverts in this country saying we choose not to plug in, how weird that at the Olympics less than a year away, they will have cars that you have to plug in. But what's weird about all of these crazy, I know sometimes like the Japanese do like their crazy concepts, but what's weird is so look, let me rephrase this. At Fully Charged Live earlier this year, Silverstone in the UK, the Tesla Owners Club and the Renault Zoe Owners Club did the free shuttle from the car park, which was about a 5-minute drive from the main front doors. They did the shuttle. And for all those 3 days, hundreds of Teslas and tens of Renault Zoes shuttled people from the car park backwards and forwards. And it was a great way of having conversations. I did that in my Zoe. People who hadn't been in an EV before even got to go in one. What that event didn't need was hundreds of crazy concept cars, because EVs are normal. EVs are just normal now. There's nothing crazy and wacky about an EV. You don't have to make all these really weird concept cars, Toyota, and say, oh, wow, look, electric cars are these weird things happening sometime in the future in, 20 years' time, some sort of sci-fi Blade Runner future. That's what these cars are like, Blade Runner cars they look like. And it's just, I just find it weird. It just wears me down. I should just not talk about Toyota. But they are the biggest car company in the world, and so we do pay them the respect of reporting on the news, of course, and try and be professional about this. But it's just like, if Toyota actually made a really good EV, they could just have 1,000 of those. If they made a brilliant electric, like a pure electric Toyota Corolla, right? Or Camry, or whatever, they could just have thousands of them, because EVs are just normal now. It's weird that they have to kind of go out of their way to make them strange. Let's talk about Tesla. During a recent interview with Tesla owner and enthusiast Sean Mitchell, the Detroit veteran Sandy Munro of Munro & Associates, one of the things in the video he mentioned was the unique components that Tesla designs and makes. One of them he calls the super bottle, and it's one of the most innovative parts that he's seen in a car. What the super bottle does, it combines 2 pumps, 1 heat exchanger, 1 coolant valve, all in one small, lightweight unit. The Model 3's cooling system is arguably the most unique cooling system in the entire auto industry, says Simon at Teslarati. The Chevy Bolt, for example, has to have 3 cooling systems because they buy them off the shelf from their external suppliers. A battery pack coolant, a cabin coolant, and an electronics coolant system. Not the case with the Model 3. The Super Bottle handles the entire cooling system of the entire car, the battery, the cabin, the electronics, all done with one small part, custom designed by Tesla. For Munro, it's a novel cooling system, but it's the very definition of what he says is Tesla's vertical integration strategy. And it's super interesting. That video is well worth a watch. I'll put another link in the show notes if you are still about to get round to that. Moving on to another car maker that is just making EVs normal now because they are just normal now. Buyers can reserve the electric version of the Vauxhall or Opel Corsa Super Mini, the Corsa-e. Reserve it for £500. The British brand has confirmed the new model is the first of the revamped Corsa lineup to break cover And the most high-tech. Under the bonnet is a 134 brake horsepower electric motor, 50 kilowatt-hour battery, 0 to 60 8.1 seconds, and a range of 205 miles, says Inside EVs. Vauxhall is offering would-be customers the opportunity to reserve their vehicle for £500, fully refundable on the purchase of the vehicle, and the first 500 customers get a free home charging kit as well, which is not actually that much of an incentive. Lots of EVs come with a free charger, actually, but it's, the first 500, it wouldn't say no. Full pricing and specs won't be announced until the car makes its debut at the Frankfurt Motor Show, but production won't begin until January 2020. And finally, down under, Australians who drive EVs will find it easier to recharge, with the federal government ploughing 15 million Aussie dollars into a network of ultra-fast charging stations on major highways, says the Sydney Morning Herald. The Morrison government's Energy Minister Angus Taylor has announced the funding. Construction begins north of Brisbane on the first of 42 ultra-fast charging stations to be built by the startup EVAE over the next year, costing $50 million. The charging network makes use of tritium fast charging units. They're the ones that will do 350 kilowatts of power, manufactured by the Aussie company in their headquarters just north of Brizzy. Great news there, with some investment going into EVs in Australia. Well, our question of the week this week comes via Brian C. Petrol users pay by quantity. EV drivers should also pay by quantity. Charging companies shouldn't be allowed to charge by the minute. Do you agree? Let me know your thoughts. There are now 244 patrons of this show, and thank you so much. Your generosity means that I get to carry on doing this every day. It's an honour. We inform, hopefully entertain a little bit, thousands of people around the world now every single day with this podcast. Thank you to Phil Roberts from Electric Future. I've now seen his new Model 3. Stunning car as well. In fact, I saw it when it was about 3 hours old. Obviously, it was built a couple of weeks ago, but he got it on first thing in the morning and then drove it to where I was at the EVs in the Park event, and he probably hadn't done more than a few miles in a couple of hours, and he brought it straight to the public events to come and see everyone. It was amazing, actually. Brad Crosby, premium partner, and Avid Technology 2. If you would like to get any of the previous shows, 559 of those online for free if you subscribe in your podcast apps, maybe on Apple, iTunes, maybe on Google or Spotify. You get the show first and free and automatically every day. Come and say hi on the socials. In the meantime, have a wonderful day. I'll catch you tomorrow. And remember, there is no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.